Good morning to everybody. In the last class, we discussed about the structure of brain and its functions. At the same time, structure of spinal cord and its functions. At the same time, I told you a point. Human body contains two types of nervous system. One is central nervous system and another one is peripheral nervous system. One is central nervous system and another one is peripheral nervous system. So we know that central nervous system means it contains brain and spinal cord. Central nervous system, CNS, means it contains brain and spinal cord. So in the last class we discussed about them, structure of brain, its functions and different parts of the brain, how they control the human body, at the same time structure of spinal cord and what is its function, how can it control the human body, like that. So we discussed about all these concepts in the last class. Today we are going to discuss about the second nervous system, which is called peripheral nervous system. Peripheral nervous system. So today we are going to discuss about this topic. Before going to the topic, we have to know one point. What is a nerve? What is a nerve? Nerve means it's a kind of fiber. Nerve means it's a kind of fiber which transmits impulses from brain to the muscle organs and also transmits the impulses from muscles and organs to the brain and spinal cord. I am repeating again. What is nerve? What is nerve? Nerve means it's a type of fiber or a bundle of fibers. It's a type of fiber or a bundle of fibers. A bundle of fibers which transmits impulses from muscles or organs to the brain and spinal cord. It transmits impulses from muscles or organs to the brain or spinal cord and also transmits the impulses or reactions from the brain and spinal cord to the muscles or organs. So this is the definition of nerve. So in the human body, there are, not only in the human body, in each and every animal body, there are two types of nerves are there. Two kinds of nerves. Two kinds of nerves. What are those? They are cranial nerves. First one is cranial. I am repeating again. Cranial nerves. 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present in the human body. 12 pairs. I mean not number 12. 12 pairs of cranial nerves present in the human body. So what is the meaning of cranium there? Cranium means it's a bony box which surrounds the human brain. Cranium means it's a bony box which surrounds and protects the human brain from the external conditions, external shocks, external pressures. So this that is called as cranium. Here the first kind of nerves are called as cranial nerves. How many are there? 12 pairs. How many are there? 12 pairs. So cranial nerves means the nerves which are coming from the brain or which attaches to the brain. What is cranial nerve? A nerve, if a nerve comes from the brain or attaches to the brain, then it is called as cranial nerve. In the human body, the cranial nerves are 12 pairs. How many number are there? 12 pairs, not number 12. 12 pairs of cranial nerves are present in the human body. And the second kind of nerves are called as spinal nerves. What are the second kind of nerves are called as? Spinal nerves. So the spinal nerves are 31 pairs. How many are there? 31 pairs, not number 31. 31 pairs. I am repeating again. In the human body, there are two kinds of nerves are there. One is cranial nerves, which means that the nerves coming from the brain or attaches to the brain. At the same time, the second kind is called as spinal nerves. Here also same, the nerves which comes out from the spinal cord or attaches to the spinal cord. What is the meaning of spinal nerves there? The nerves which comes out from the spinal cord or attaches to the spinal cord are called as spinal nerves. In the human body, they are 31 pairs. How many are there? In the human body, they are 31 pairs. So this is a very, very important point. So remember it. Next, we are going to the topic. So today's our today's topic is peripheral nervous system. Our today's topic is peripheral nervous system. So just observe the diagram there. It is nothing but TS of spinal cord. Yes or no? It is nothing but TS of spinal cord. We all know that it's nothing but TS. TS means transverse section. What is TS here? Transverse section. If we cut a piece or a material horizontally, then it is called as transverse section, TS. Otherwise, if we cut a material or a thing longitudinally, vertically, then it is called as LS, longitudinal section. And the diagram is TS of spinal cord. TS of spinal cord. I forgot to tell you one thing. In the peripheral nervous system, the important organ is only spinal cord. In the CNS, central nervous system, there are brain and spinal cord. Both are very important. Both controls the central nervous system. But when come to the case of peripheral nervous system, the spinal cord is the one and only important and major organ which controls the peripheral functions of the human body. Peripheral functions of the human body. So just observe the diagram. In the diagram of spinal cord, there are two roots. One is from the dorsal side, which is called as dorsal root. One is dorsal root, and the second one is on the ventral side, which is called as ventral root. There are two ways or two paths. One is on the dorsal side and another one is ventral side. So what is the meaning of dorsal there? What is the meaning of dorsal? Dorsal means back side. In the human body, dorsal means back side, ventral means front side. I mean, ventral means which we have to tell it as near in the side of stomach. In the side of stomach, ventral means. So here there are two different paths are there. One is dorsal root and another one is ventral root. So there are two scientists, Bell, who is from Scotland, and Francois Magendie, who is from France. These two are scientists, Bell and Francois. These two scientists performed a research in early 19th century to find out the different functions of these two different pathways, dorsal and ventral. So they taken an animal like a rat or rabbit. They taken one animal. So in that animal, they cut the dorsal path or I'm repeating again. They taken an animal like a rat or rabbit. So in that animal, they were cut the dorsal path. So when they cut the dorsal part, there is no response from that animal. But when they are trying to cut the ventral side of path or ventral side of root, the animal shows some sense. The animal shows some sense. I am repeating again. So to clear the confusion, they taken an animal like rat or rabbit. So first of all, they cut the dorsal path. There is no response from the animal or animal body. There is no response. There is no obvious reaction there. So when coming to the ventral root or ventral path, when they try to touch the ventral nerve, immediately that animal shows some muscular activity. I mean, immediately the animal shivers or moves aside like that. It showed some muscular activity. So in 1822, they concluded that the ventral path, which means ventral root, takes information from the organs to the brain, information from the organs to the spinal cord or brain. The ventral path takes information from organs to the brain, At the same time, the dorsal part takes the information from brain to the muscle or organ. Muscle or organ. So I am repeating again, the ventral root or ventral nerve carries information from organ or muscle to the brain or spinal cord. At the same time, to this opposite, the dorsal root or dorsal nerve carries information from brain to the muscle or organ. So they found this based on the muscular contraction of ventral root. So this is some basic information about the peripheral nervous system. So when coming to the PNS, I mean peripheral nervous system, it's a vast system. Vast means it's very large and very elaborated. It's very large and very elaborated. It contains two pathways. One is dorsal path and another one is ventral path. One is dorsal path, which means back side, and another one is ventral path from front side. From front side. So these these are two different parts of PNS, peripheral nervous system. So what is the function of PNS here? We know that majority of the human body functions are controlled by the brain and spinal cord in the CNS, central nervous system. So what is the importance of PNS? So when coming to the case of PNS, it can control the involuntary functions. It can control the involuntary functions. For example, there are number of blood vessels are present in the human body. There are number of blood vessels present in the human body. In the heart, there are cardiac muscles. These two are functions involuntarily. These two functions involuntarily, which means that we can't control the function with the brain. But the PNS, peripheral nervous system, shows some control over these involuntary functions. That one is just an example. Heart muscles or blood vessels is just an example. There are so many involuntary functions are present in the human body. Okay, so PNS shows some control over these involuntary functions of the human body. At the same time, it also shows some control over the voluntary functions like muscular contraction. It also shows some control over the voluntary functions like muscular contraction. So for the involuntary function or involuntary movement, we can observe an example. Okay, so the example is about the eye pupil. The example is about the eye pupil. When we enter a dark room, immediately we can't see anything. Yes or no? When we enter a dark room, immediately we can't see anything. After some seconds of time, slowly we are able to see the things around us present in the room. Yes or no? Slowly we are able to see the things which are present in the room. This is because of the increase in diameter of the pupil. Do you know what is pupil here? Pupil means the dark part, the dark dot which is present middle of our eye. The dark dot which is present middle of our eye, that is called as pupil. So when we enter the dark room, before we are entering to the dark room, the pupil is in normal size. So immediately when we enter to the dark room, it needs some time to expand. That's only we cannot see anything. After some time, the pupil shows enlargement in its diameter, which allows more light. So this is because of the increase in diameter of the pupil. At the same time, when we come out of the dark room, into the daylight, immediately the diameter of the pupil decreases. Because it allows less light into our eyes. So just observe 2 points here. First one is pupil means the dark color dot which is present inside our eye, in the center part of our eye, which allows light into the eye, which allows light inside. Okay, and the second point, when we enter the dark room, the size of the pupil increases to catch more light, that's why only we are able to see the things in the dark room also. And the second case is when we enter the daylight condition, immediately the size of the pupil decreases, because in that condition it allows only a small amount of light only. So it's an example of PNS, peripheral nervous system, and this peripheral nervous system is also called as autonomous nervous system. It is also called as autonomous nervous system. So we know that autonomous means which is not controlled by any other organ or any other thing. Yes or no? Autonomous means which is not controlled by any other organ or any other thing. That's why only it is called as autonomous nervous system. So in the autonomous nervous system, there are mainly two different conditions. One is called sympathetic and another one is called parasympathetic. One is called sympathetic and another one is called parasympathetic. So this autonomous nervous system is also controlled by the medulla oblongata. Some part of medulla oblongata controls this autonomous nervous system, and majority of the ANS is controlled by the spinal cord only. So look at the diagram there, look at the picture there. In that picture there are two different parts are there. One is left side and another one is right side. One is called sympathetic and another one is called parasympathetic. These two are two different parts and gives counter reactions to one another. These two are different parts, these two are different conditions which gives counter reaction to one another. So just observe the pupil size. In the last example we discussed about the size of the diameter of the pupil. So sympathetic nervous system gives the dilation of pupil. Dilation means it increases the diameter of the pupil. To this reaction, parasympathetic gives some counter reaction which is called constriction of pupil. Constriction means it decreases the size of pupil. And like that, there are number of reactions, there are number of responses in the human body which are controlled by the sympathetic, and to that responses parasympathetic gives another counter response. Okay, this is called autonomous nervous system. In this nervous system, the nerves called cranial nerves and spinal nerves show some part. So look at the diagram there. Some nerves which are coming outside the brain. So in the parasympathetic nervous system, okay, so those are called cranial nerves. When coming to the case of sympathetic nervous system, number of nerves are coming outside from the spinal cord. Those are called spinal nerves. These spinal nerves are controlled by the ganglia. Not controlling. They can get information from the ganglia. So what is ganglia here? Ganglia means it's a group of cell bodies of neurons. What is ganglia here? Ganglia means it's a group of neurons. It's a group of cell bodies of the neurons. So this is about the ANS, autonomous nervous system. So I am repeating again. In the autonomous nervous system, there are two different controlling parts are there. One is sympathetic and another one is parasympathetic. Sympathetic means it gives a response. Parasympathetic, it gives the counter response to the sympathetic one. So in the last example, we discussed about the size of the pupil, diameter of the pupil. When we enter the dark room, immediately our eye responds and increases the diameter of the pupil to allow more light. That is controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. Immediately when we come out of the dark room, again our eye controls the pupil and decreases the size of the diameter of the pupil. Decreases the size of the pupil, which is controlled by the parasympathetic. So I mean both these two gives opposite response to the one another, opposite responses to each another. So this is called autonomous nervous system. And also in the human body, after 2 decades of research, scientists found that there is also another nervous system which is called enteric nervous system. It is not controlled by the brain or spinal cord. It is not controlled by the brain or spinal cord. That is called ENS. We know that about the CNS, central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. And second one, PNS, peripheral nervous system. It is also called as ANS, autonomous nervous system. So it contains only spinal cord. So when coming to the case of the third one, after 2 decades of research, scientists found that there is also another system in the human body which is not controlled by the brain or spinal cord. That is called enteric nervous system. That is called enteric nervous system. They also given a nickname called small brain of the human body. Small brain. Small brain means it shows the functions exactly like the human brain. It shows functions exactly like the human brain. So that system is nothing but digestive system of human body. That system is nothing but digestive system of human body. It is called enteric nervous system, and the nickname is small brain of the human body because it contains number of neurons, number of glands. It releases some enzymes, some hormones to digest the food, to control the hunger, to control the response, to control the small intestine, large intestine, like that. So that's why only it is called enteric nervous system. It is not controlled by the brain or spinal cord, and there is no control over the digestive system in the human body. That's why it is called as enteric nervous system. So this is our today's class. Thank you one and all.